Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambeau channel, and Ripple today has dropped their Q4 2020 XRP Markets report, illustrating a number of interesting things, including the fact that XRP volume on a global level was up about 300% compared to the previous quarter. Now, that's probably not going to be too surprising. It's fun to see how the numbers actually played out, but obviously things started to get a little bit spicy starting mid-November in terms of XRP price action. And, when you see major price action for a crypto, whether it's to the upside or the downside, there's always going to be a bunch of volume that's resulting in that being possible. And oh my gosh, was there. And they go on to talk about situation with the SEC, the degree to which, volume has been also, just despite that quarter-over-quarter increase, the degree to which volume has been destroyed as a result of the SEC's actions against Ripple. And obviously the degree to which the market's been spooked. And there was one thing that I was disappointed in as a result of this report, and it's not something they included, it's something they didn't include, having to do with on-demand liquidity. But lots to talk about. I want to be clear, I don't have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you should not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. I just think it's fun as an enthusiast to discuss things along these lines. I'm an XRP holder myself, most certainly. And I make YouTube videos purely as a hobby. That is all that it is. I appreciate the support, though. So let's just go ahead and jump right on in here. And I want to start with the executive summary. Q4 2020 was marked by the phenomenal growth of derivative markets, soaring Bitcoin prices, and a record-breaking crypto market capitalization as more investors became more bullish about Bitcoin and adopted crypto in their portfolios. Yeah, and by the way, today, I'm going to talk more about this in a separate video that's dedicated more so like what's happening in terms of price action, this and that. But worth mentioning that the total altcoin market cap today exceeded its previous all-time high from the last market cycle. So that's a cool milestone. Things are definitely heating up. But they continue. However, as crypto becomes mainstream, it's evident that lack of U.S. regulatory clarity has continued to stifle American innovation and progress. Last quarter, the SEC's enforcement action against Ripple had a devastating impact on XRP market participants by escalating uncertainty for U.S. players, causing many to pause XRP trading. By bringing this case, at least $15 billion of XRP value was lost in the open market. This does not take into account the 50% rally in the rest of the crypto market over the same time period. Yeah, indeed. So it's not just that it's that much was destroyed. It's the opportunity that was there for XRP to go higher, and I personally believe it would be much higher than where it was before the crash. We're not experiencing that on top of these losses, but I'm still going to sit tight. I made my case clear on that. The overall market rally was led primarily by Bitcoin, with some market participants noting that U.S. traders who sold out of XRP post-SEC news seemed to have contributed meaningfully towards the rally in Bitcoin. Well, the money's got to go somewhere, doesn't it? And if it's going to stay in crypto, whatever. Now, that said, while U.S. regulatory action caused havoc and prompted U.S. market participants to withdraw from a massive global virtual currency market, close to 90% of XRP volumes remained intact, and many market participants moved forward with business related to XRP outside the United States. This further underscores the fact that the U.S. is out of step with its international counterparts. Ripple ended 2020 strong, with record customer numbers and high on-demand liquidity transaction volumes. And so that was, I mentioned this in a previous video, they're talking about 12x year-over-year growth for on-demand liquidity. So that part's good. I'm going to talk about more about on-demand liquidity a little bit later in the video. They also landed 15 new customers after the SEC lawsuit. So they continue to move forward here. They go into state something that I've covered on this channel, so I'll just be brief and just mention it. The FOIA request, that's the Freedom of Information Act. They're basically requesting, and they went through the actual legal filings to make this request, that the SEC explain how they determine the status of Ether as a non-security. And so you know what Ripple's going to do. They're going to take that information, assuming they get it, and then compare the statements made within, a comparison of how XRP is being treated, and say why this and this, because it's not, it's not going to make sense. The logic it just doesn't follow. They'll try and make a case, but the logic it does not follow. And take a look at this. As far as how much XRP is being sold, this is going to be mind-blowing if you haven't been tracking this stuff. Take a look. Last quarter, total XRP sales by Ripple, net purchases of 76.27 million USD versus 35.84 million the previous quarter. Now, here's the interesting thing about this. And by the way, I want to be clear too, like this is all about supporting on-demand liquidity partners. That's what these sales were for, okay? Now you can see, even though the actual sales of XRP quarter over quarter a little bit more than doubled, it represented substantially less volume because there was all sorts of activity going. This is what I always get to all the idiot sticks out there that insist that Ripple's just dumping XRP on the market and suppressing price, this or that. I've illustrated a number of different ways how that's nonsensical, and here's an excellent up-to-date reason as to how that makes no freaking sense on the planet. In Q3, XRP sales from Ripple were 0.1% of volume. 0.1%. That is nowhere near enough for anybody to note. It absolutely is not. And that was cut in half in Q4. So even though they sold more, there was so much more activity that as a percent, the net sales as percent of total volume was cut in half. It went from 0.1% in Q3 to 0.05%. My friends, that is not enough volume to measurably impact the price of XRP. It's nothing. It's absolutely nothing. Let me go down a little bit further now. They have a chart here showing reported volume. I gotta admit, like, this was a fun time where I'm circling right here. This is what's the date? Like November, 21st, 22nd, somewhere around there. I'll tell you what, if you guys follow me on Twitter, I was getting spicy on Twitter. I hold myself back a fair bit on my YouTube videos because there could be children in the background, and I get that. But on the Twitter, I was admittedly, because I was having fun, I was getting a little spicy right there. But look at that tremendous volume. It's just nuts. And, XRP, even outside of that outlier instance where XRP got up to like 92 cents on Coinbase, the rest of the market, it still got close to 80 cents, frankly. So it was rather fascinating. Now, not surprisingly, there was a notable increase in the volatility of XRP. And I don't know if on the surface, like, I guess to somebody that's like a normal person that doesn't know anything about crypto, that would be a scary, bad sounding thing. But the volatility is the reason that I'm here. Because if there weren't volatility, that would mean that things are just trading sideways. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here because the only way you're going to have upward price movement is with tremendous volatility. So to me, that's extremely desirable. It represents more risk, but if I didn't want to risk, what would I do? I invest in something more traditional asset class. I don't know, put it in precious metals and hope it trades sideways, something like that. No, but I want this opportunity. Now, the interesting thing about this, I think, is that if you fast forward X number of decades, I don't know how far you'd have to go out, but at some point, this volatility is going to drop off like precipitously. And I don't know exactly how long it's going to take. But eventually, there'll be enough money in here, into the crypto asset class, that it's just going to be as exciting as like the stock market. I know it's not going to be as exciting as it is today. And you can think it's easy to conceptually understand why. If you just think about how little money is in the crypto asset class right now, with what the hell is XRP's market cap today? I could be way off. Is it like 16 or 17 billion? I forget because the price XRP has been jumping around so much. But think about how little money has to flow in to get XRP to double. Whereas if you're talking about like the market cap of gold, which is, I don't know what it is today, is it 9 trillion or something? Think about how much money would have to flow into gold to get it to double, right? And so once you have a mature crypto asset class, it's going to take crazy amounts of money to get it to sway, and as a result, the volatility obviously is going to dissipate over time. So I don't know that it's going to happen all at once, but with each market cycle, there's going to be, I suspect, in a general sense, less opportunity for tremendous gains. But that's okay. We're here now. We're nowhere near a point where that's going to happen, I don't think, anyway. And so it's just nice to be here right now. And then they've got this, a deeper analysis, the state of the XRP market, and they go on to cite. Basically, it's the halting of XRP on exchanges and the removal of XRP on exchanges. And you can see most of it was in the United States or the EMEA, which really isn't too surprising because that's the thing. Like, even though the worst of the happenings here in terms of like halting and delisting and all that happened in the United States, there are businesses that interact with the United States, and so many of them did have to take actions. Now, a lot of them, luckily, they took action, but only for those United States customers. And then, even if they're overseas, they allowed their customers over there to continue to transact. Not all took that approach. Some actually just completely removed it, which was unfortunate. But ultimately, you're talking about, what was the total? 33. So 33 entities, halted or removed XRP. You got to consider. I mean, yes, that sucks, but I don't know what the total numbers, but it's over 200 exchanges the world over that trade XRP. So, just understand it's not something that's going to absolutely destroy XRP. And in fact, they highlight, maybe it's a little bit lower down here. It was something like, yeah, here you go. Percent of impacted volumes based on these changes ends up being Ripple's best estimate, 12.49%. And again, I still think that that's going to come back once there is clarity around XRP. And I think that you'll be beyond that. You'll see as time passes, more cryptocurrency exchanges listed anyway, and that's what we've been seeing for years now. So I don't think that's particularly going to change here. So it was interesting. Now, as far as what I was disappointed in, they talk about how awesome on-demand liquidity has increased year over year, and kudos to them. That's amazing. They're building out something like the likes of which this hasn't even been attempted before. And without, technologically sufficient decentralized cryptocurrency with an open market price, you couldn't even do any of this anyway. And XRP is that cryptocurrency. It's the only one on the planet being positioned for this particular use case. However, and I've been mentioning on the channel from time to time, I'm like, I still don't have clarity around what Bitstamp halting trading means for on-demand liquidity. They don't talk about it here. And it's a shame because it was certainly impacted towards wouldn't you think? Or actually, maybe not. Maybe that would be the reason. But I still think I should talk about it. I can't remember when Bitstamp actually halted trading of XRP, because that's a primary on-demand liquidity partner from the United States to Mexico, flowing to the Bitso exchange in Mexico. And so I was just wondering, I guess it may be the case. I should have double checked that. I didn't think to double check that actually, as far as the announcement versus when they actually halted. I think the announcement was towards the last part of Q4 in late December. And it may be the case that the actual pausing of XRP being traded was technically in January, in which case on-demand liquidity wouldn't have been impacted that quarter, now that I'm thinking about it. But regardless, I was hoping that something would have been explained in here as far as like the impact, because they talk about in a general sense, also $15 billion being wiped off the face of the earth because of what the SEC did here. But I still don't have an understanding, because Ripple hasn't shared the impact here of what it means for the corridors that they were enabled by exchanges that are no longer trading XRP. What does that mean? Is it the case that is it still persisting? Because I haven't seen volumes crazily drop off or anything. Then again, as a total percent of volume, like on-demand liquidity was kind of small anyway, because it's still getting built out. It's still early days. But is it the case that they simply stopped trading and then the XRP held by the exchange itself is still utilized for on-demand liquidity? I don't have clarity on that, and I haven't seen anybody talk about it, really. I haven't seen anybody else in the community really talk about it. I could have just missed it, but I also haven't seen anybody from Ripple provide an answer on that topic. So I'm just genuinely curious. I don't know. I was hoping that there would have been something along those lines in this report, but there was not. So we'll find out at some point. It's going to come out. It's going to have to be brought up, but I don't know what that means for the utilization of on-demand liquidity today. And here we are, February. This has been going on for some time, and still no clarity on that. So we'll see. All in all, it was a fine report, though. So don't take me wrong, and I'm still optimistic for the long-term viability of XRP. I'm going to continue holding, and I think it's going to be a hell of a market cycle for XRP, and really, well, certainly the crypto asset class as a whole. But I'm just saying, I think XRP is going to come along for the ride. But I will stop there. I am not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.